بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. I start with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the unconditionally loving, the unconditionally compassionate. And may the best of peace and blessings be upon the final Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was sent as a mercy to all mankind. And may the best of peace and blessings be upon all other prophets as well. Dear beloved brothers and sisters, I greet you with the greetings of Islam, the greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, we are with a new story about a new companion of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is Sayyidina Tumama Bin Uthal radiyallahu anhu. Tumama is neither from Mecca nor from Medina, but he is from Al-Yamama. Al-Yamama is an ancient historic city located in the Najd region in the modern day Saudi Arabia. So he's a bit far from Medina and also far from Mecca. Being the final prophet, Rasulullah was sent to all human beings, not only to the Arabs. There is no ayah in the Quran nor in the Hadith that says Rasulullah was sent only to the Arabs. No, Rasulullah was sent to all human beings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا كَافَّةً لِلنَّاسِ. We have not sent you except as to all human beings. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So being sent to all human beings, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam invited people that he met personally to Allah. The people that he met in Mecca, he met in Medina, he met in Al-Ta'if, he invited them to Allah personally. But the people that Rasulullah did not meet, couldn't meet them, he sent letters to them. And when he sent letters, of course, he will send to the leaders, to the chiefs or the kings of those people. And the letter, those people, the leaders, are supposed to convey the letter to their people. So we know, all of us, that Rasulullah sent messages and letters to the kings of his time, known of his time. And the books of history tell us that one of those people was Tumama Bin Uthal radiyallahu anhu. He was the chief or one of the kings of Al-Yamama, a leader. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent him a message, letter inviting him to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But unfortunately, he received the message of Rasulullah with contempt. Not only he didn't accept, but he received it with contempt. He hated it. He even made Rasulullah and the Muslims and companions of Rasulullah and Islam an enemy of himself. Why? Just he received a letter only, without any investigation, without any asking or going by himself to check who are those people. Is this a true prophet? What they are calling for? If you remember in the previous stories, we spoke about some companions who came themselves to check and investigate the sincerity and truthfulness of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when they got the message. But unfortunately, in the case of Tumama, because human beings are different, some of them, when they receive a letter, they try to check. Others, they just hear a hype and then they believe it as truth. And in fact, this is what happens now in our age of social media now. Anyone can publish whatever he or she wants, and then people read or listen or even watch and then believe it as truth, even though it might not be except as a hype. So this is what happened to Tumama. He rejected it. He planned even to kill Rasulullah. He killed some of the companions. Why? This is what happens when shaitan takes hold of human beings. He makes himself an enemy of Rasulullah, an enemy of Islam, an enemy of Muslims. And when you make yourself an enemy of Rasulullah, you are an enemy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what happens, unfortunately, with him. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he became the leader in Medina, and Islam itself is a religion for life, not only for the akhirah, not only a religion for worship, not only a religion in the mosque, in the masjid. No. Islam is both this life, we live life, a good life here in dunya, and also followed by a good life in the akhirah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنًا. Ya Allah, grant us good in this life, dunya. وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ, and in the hereafter, in the coming life, also grant us hasana, good life. So Rasulullah taught us that we need to live good life here and good life there. That's why he sent a brigade as far as Najd. A group of his companions, sent them outside. He was not only teaching them salah and fasting and zakah and hajj, not only that, but Rasulullah also was teaching them life, how to live life. So he has a brigade, horsemen, sent outside Medina, not only in Medina or around Medina, as far as Najd, to investigate, to check if there are any enemy who is planning to attack Medina, to attack Rasulullah. So this is from Islam. Military is a part of Islam. Doing your job is part of Islam. Going to work is part of Islam. If you have niyyah for Allah, you are in ibadah, you are worshipping Allah. When you go to work, if Allah is in your intention, your niyyah is for Allah, you are doing ibadah. When you go to school or to university to study, to learn, if Allah is in your niyyah, in your intention, you are in ibadah. If you are in military and you are doing it to save Muslims and your brother Muslims and for Allah, brothers and sisters in Islam, the Muslim Ummah, you do it for Allah, you are in ibadah also. So Islam is life, to live life here and also with the akhirah. So Rasulullah sent those companions as far as Najd. They saw some people and they suspected about one of them. They captured him. He was Tumama Bin Uthal, the king of Al-Yamama. He was traveling to make Umrah to Mecca. So I said there was Hajj and Umrah before, but they were totally changed. Not like the Hajj that we know and the Umrah we know. Because Hajj and Umrah, as we mentioned in previous stories, is from the religion of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Therefore, he went to Umrah to perform Umrah in the way they knew. But he was captured by Muslims. They took him to Medina and of course to the center where Rasulullah is, to the masjid. They tied him up to one of the pillars of the masjid. He knew what he did. He killed among Muslims. He planned to kill Rasulullah. He rejected the letter of Rasulullah. And when they brought him, Rasulullah ﷺ asked his family to send him food and drinks. He is a criminal. He killed among the companions of Rasulullah. He rejected the letter of Rasulullah. But when he was captured, Rasulullah commanded his family to send him food. Maybe Rasulullah has only that food, didn't have more food. So see the respect. He is a leader, even though he is captured, even though he was a criminal. But Rasulullah, being a leader, sent him food from the house of the leader, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when Rasulullah came to him and said to him, "Ma wara'aka ya Tumama, ma indaka ya Tumama." That, this is very short sentence. Ma indaka ya Tumama. That's it. This is what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what do you have? The meaning is, what do you want to say? Because he knew what he did. He killed among the companions. Rasulullah knew. The companions knew. So no need to speak long. You did and you do that. No. He knew. Everyone knows. So short. Ma indaka ya Tumama. The meaning is, what do you want to say? All the things we know, no need to mention. We know that you reject the letter. We know that you plan to kill Rasulullah. We know that you killed among Muslims. You know that you make Islam and Muslims enemy of you. No need to mention all that. All that, evil, no need to mention. What do you want to say? Now we are in a new situation. cut to the chase. This is how Rasulullah used to speak. Speak only what is needed, what is useful. ما عندك يا ثمامة. That's all Rasulullah did. That's all what Rasulullah said. So he said, this is a hadith, by the way, narrated by Al-Imam Bukhari on the authority of Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. Then Rasulullah said, ما عندك يا ثمامة. What do you want to say? He said, خير يا Muhammad. Oh, he didn't believe Rasulullah. So he said, oh Muhammad, what I have is good. I have خير. إن تقتلني تقتل ذا دم. If you kill me, you kill someone who has shed blood. I shed the blood of your companions. I killed them. So the meaning, if you kill me, you are not transgressing. You are doing justice. I am a killer. I kill people among you. So if you kill me, this is justice. In taqtul, taqtul ذا دم. So this is normal. وإن تنعم, if you do a favor, تنعم على شاكر, meaning if you forgive me, if you don't kill me. So وإن تنعم, if you do a favor, تنعم على شاكر. You are doing a favor to someone who is grateful. That means if you don't kill me, I will be grateful. وإن كنت تريد المال, and if you want money, فسل منه ما شئت. Ask the number, mention the number you want. It is yours. He is a king. If you are after money, mention the number and the money is yours and let me go. I ransom myself. فَتُرِكَ حَتَّى كَانَ الْغَدْ. Rasulullah left him until tomorrow. The first time he came, he still didn't know anything about Rasulullah, didn't know that Rasulullah is the messenger of rahmah, the messenger of love. He came to take a human being from the way of shaitan, from the way of hell, to the way of Ar-Rahman, to Allah, to the way of Jannah. He did not know that. It seems the letter that Rasulullah sent to him was not, useful for him. So now Rasulullah left him in the masjid. Why Rasulullah kept him in the masjid? Because he wanted him to be in the prophetic masjid environment. He wanted him to be in the environment, to experience firsthand, to see by himself. The letter from far, he made himself an enemy of Islam and Muslim. Now Rasulullah wanted him to see, experience by himself. Maybe when he sees the truth, things change. So Rasulullah left him for the next day. Next day, Rasulullah came to him, the same question, ما عندك يا ثمامة? What do you have? What do you want to say? That's it. Now, what happened during the 24 hour? He heard the Quran from Rasulullah because he was tied up in the masjid. He heard the Quran from Rasulullah in the prayer. He saw the practice of Muslims, how they respect each other, the education, the level of education they have, the love they have. He lived, he saw by himself the Islamic environment. He saw Rasulullah, he saw the companions, he saw Islam in practice, not from the hypes that were propagated against Islam. So, when Rasulullah asked him after 24 hours, ما عندك يا ثمامة? If you remember the first time, he gave 3 options. If you kill me, if you do a favor, and if you want money. Now the second day when Rasulullah asked, ما عندك يا ثمامة? قال ما قلت لك. What I told you. إن تنعم تنعم على شاكر. If you do a favor, you do it to someone who is grateful. Only one choice or one thing. The 2 other things Tumama did not mention, they are dropped. The killing didn't mention, the money didn't mention. He only mentioned the forgiveness. It seems that within 24 hours, he realized that Rasulullah was not after killing. Rasulullah was not after money. It seems that he realized that Rasulullah was after forgiveness and love. That's why he only mentioned it. 24 hours. So Rasulullah and the Islamic environment, he realized that it is love and forgiveness. That's why the second day he said, In tun'im, tun'im ala shakir. But still that 24 hours might not be so enough for him. So Rasulullah left him. Again, he listened to the Quran from Rasulullah in Salah. He saw Muslims for another 24 hours. The third day, Rasulullah came to him. The same question. ما عندك يا ثمامة? يا ثمامة, what do you want to say? He said, ما قلت لك. What I told you. Even forgiveness now was not mentioned. He didn't mention any of the three because he felt certain that Islam is not only forgiveness, but Islam is beyond forgiveness. Islam is love. And you know, when you forgive someone, maybe you forgive him, but you don't love him or her. But love is beyond and above forgiveness. He realized within 3 days that Islam is not after money. Islam was not after killing. Islam was not after justice. Was not only for forgiveness, but Islam was above that, love. So he said, what I told you, didn't give any choice. Now the message of Rasulullah, the mission of Rasulullah that he was shouldered by Allah is to convey the message. Tumama, first Rasulullah conveyed the message to him by a letter, was not successful. Now Rasulullah conveyed the message to him first hand. He saw by himself. Then he said, what I told you. Rasulullah said to the companions, أطلقوا ثمامة, go. Release him. Release Tumama. Let him go. I conveyed the message to him. This is my job. Let him go. He wants to believe. He wants to believe. It's up to him. He doesn't want. It's up to him. You see, he is a criminal. Killed among the Muslims, among the companions of Rasulullah. And if he could kill Rasulullah, he would have not spared that. But even though Rasulullah said, let him go. He went near the masjid of Rasulullah to a garden of palm date trees. He washed up. He came back to the masjid of Rasulullah and he said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. He became a Muslim. I bear witness there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. Rasulullah spoke to him one question. ما عندك يا ثمامة? Repeat it 3 times. How could within these 3 days he changes from a criminal to a believer? Because Rasulullah was not only teaching by the tongue, but he was teaching by his own actions. He saw what Rasulullah was doing. The followers of Rasulullah, he felt certain that this is the reality. And then he said, after he said, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, he said, Ya Muhammad, Wallahi ma kana ala al-ardi wajhun abghadu ilayya min wajhik. By Allah, there was no face on earth, all earth, more detested to me, I hate more than your face. That means the person that he hates the most on earth was Rasulullah. But now, ولكن فقد أصبح وجهك أحب الوجوه إلي. But your face has become the most beloved face to me. والله ما كان من دين أبغض إلي من دينك. By Allah, there was no deen, there was no religion more detested to me than your deen. فأصبح دينك أحب الدين إلي. And your religion become the most beloved deen to me. والله ما كان من بلد أبغض إلي من بلدك. By Allah, there was no city, no country more detested to me than yours. فأصبح بلدك أحب البلاد إلي. Your country become the most beloved country to me. how come he changes within 3 days with one question repeated 3 times? He hated Rasulullah the most, Rasulullah became the most beloved. He hated Islam the most, Islam became the most beloved religion. He hated Medina the most, Medina became the most beloved country to him. And he was captured, he was tied up. He experienced firsthand by himself the reality of Islam. So now when you hear about Islam, you hear hypes, do not believe it. Go and experience it yourself. Those billions of people who follow Islam and confess the religion of Islam, do you think they are, fooled? That cannot be. And then he continued, وَإِنَّ خَيْلَكَ أَخَذَتْنِي. Your horsemen captured me while I was going to Umrah. What do you command me? Now he is getting the command. He is asking Rasulullah to direct him what to do. The sincerity and love of Rasulullah not only changed him from a criminal and he stopped the crimes. This is what we hope the most when in our prisons. You know that the high-rated prisons, that they are rehabilitating, they have rehabilitation programs and so on. They hope that criminals stop their crimes. But Rasulullah did not only do that. He stopped him from a criminal and he transferred him from a criminal to a righteous, to a reformed person. He made him a salih person, reformed. And not only that, we will see at the end of the story, he will also go from a reformed to a reformer, from a salih to a muslih. We will see that at the end of the story, inshallah. Within 3 days, without speaking to him, this is the result of love and sincerity of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam congratulated him, فَبَشَّرَهُ وَأَمَرَهُ أَنْ يَعْتَمِرْ, and he asked him to go to Umrah. But of course, Umrah, the way of Islam, not the way that they used to do before Islam. And also the books of history told us that he asked Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, I killed among your companions. What should I do? Should I make any ransom, pay money, do something, do sadaqah, expiate my sins? Rasulullah told him, Al-Islamu yajubu ma qablah. Whenever you become a Muslim, all the previous sins are forgiven. He is a king, so rich, Rasulullah could have asked him for money. A lot of money, even not for himself, even for Muslims, for something. Rasulullah was not after that. So Rasulullah did not take any money from him and ask him to go to Umrah. When he went to Umrah, the people in Mecca asked him, Asabaut? Sabaut, this is a word come from Sabi. Sabi means the young boy who didn't have reasoning yet. Still not matured yet. He take wrong decisions. So they used to use this word, asabaut, that means to describe those people who follow Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Meaning that if you follow Rasul, if you take a decision to follow Rasulullah and you become a Muslim, you surrender your will and yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are taking a decision, a wrong decision like children, an immature decision like children does or like children do. This is, naming things by the opposite of the reality is not new. It happens long time ago. Long time ago happened. Why? Because shaitan is available long time ago also. These are the steps of shaitan, the same steps. Human being changes, shaitan is passing his steps on us. From the beginning, they called those people children, immature decision. Asabaut, that means implying, did you make a wrong decision like children and followed Muhammad? He said, Ma sabaut, I didn't take a wrong decision. ولكن أسلمت مع محمد رسول الله. I surrender myself to Allah with Muhammad, the Prophet of Rasulullah. Allah sent him a messenger to us. We surrender ourselves. This is the meaning of Islam. You surrender yourself to Allah, to the will of Allah, because Allah guides you to happiness, guides you to Jannah, guides you to all good. So when you surrender yourself to Him, you will be guided to good. That's it. So you surrender yourself for you, not for Allah. Allah doesn't need us. He created us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is needless, doesn't need any of His creation. We are in need of Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when we surrender ourselves to Him, this is for us. And they tried to oppress Him, but then they realized, He is the king. They couldn't harm Him because all the wheat they import for their bread, they import from His country, from Al-Yamama. They said, if you do any wrong to Him, we will not receive any wheat from Al-Yamama, so don't harm Him. And He said to them, by Allah, you will not see a single grain of wheat when I go back to Al-Yamama unless Rasulullah allows it. And when he went back to Al-Yamama, he commanded his people not to sell any single grain of wheat to the Meccans. And as a result, they fell in famine. Famine spread in Mecca because their main food is bread. And bread comes from wheat, and all the wheat comes from Al-Yamama. And Al-Yamama is refusing to give them wheat. That's why, they fell in famine. The people of Mecca sent a letter to Rasulullah ﷺ telling him, you claim that you enjoin Silatul Rahim. You ask your followers to connect the ties of kinship, to be good to the people of kin, their relatives. And in Mecca, we are your relatives. You are originally from Mecca. And your follower, Tumama, is refusing to give us wheat, and we are in famine. So how you claim that you are enjoining the Silatul Rahim and you are not doing it with us? So ask Tumama to give us our wheat, to sell us wheat. Imagine, I cannot imagine that. They are the people who killed among his companions when they were in Mecca. They tried repeatedly to kill Rasulullah in Mecca. They forced the companions of Rasulullah out to Abyssinia, Al-Habasha first, and then to Medina. They forced Rasulullah to Medina also, forced him out. Not only that, they confiscated their properties, their houses, they sold it, they took the money. And that was not enough. They followed Rasulullah and the Muslims to Medina. They fought them in Badr, in Uhud, and in Al-Khandaq, 3 battles. They did all that. And now when they become weak, they sent a letter to Rasulullah. We are your Rahim. We are your people of kin. Be good to us. Now you remember? Now you remember after you did all that? So imagine anyone, any leader now at this time, this happened to him or to her. What do you think they do? But Rasulullah is the message of love and mercy and forgiveness. He wrote a letter to Tumama, give them their wheat. That's it. This is the love of Rasulullah. This is the teachings that Rasulullah wanted to teach us. That's it. That's it. Tumama Bin Uthal, radiallahu anh, as I said, he was changed from a reformed, from a salih to a reformer, to a muslih who is making others good. And all of us know the story of Musaylama al-Kazdab, Musaylama the liar. He claimed to be a prophet at the time of Rasulullah, but because when Rasulullah was there, he couldn't do big troubles. But when Rasulullah passed away, he claimed to be a prophet, and he gathered many around him. And the big issue that happened after Rasulullah ﷺ passed away, this is not our story today. But what happened, Musaylam al-Kadhab is from Al-Yamama. Tumama bin Uthal is also in Al-Yamama. So Tumama tried his best to gather people around him, to make them stand firm on Islam, and told them this is a big fitna, do not follow him. He is a liar, he is not Rasulullah. And he gave them two examples. He said, listen to what Muhammad Rasulullah, the true messenger, said. And he recited to them, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Hamim, Tanzilul Kitabi min Allah al-Aziz al-Halim. Hamim, Tanzilul Kitab, the revelation of the book, min Allah, is from Allah, al-Aziz, the Almighty, al-Alim, the All-Knower, the All-Knowledgeable. Ghafir al-Dhanb, the forgiver of the sin. Qabil al-Tawb, the acceptor, the one who accepts repentance. قابل التوب شديد العقاب, severe in punishment. The طول, infinite in giving, subhanahu wa ta'ala. لا إله إلا هو, there is no God but him. العزيز, لا إله إلا هو إليه المصير, to him is the return. He said this is the Quran that Muhammad Rasulullah, the true messenger, brings. And Musaylama the liar, his name is Musaylama al-Kadhab, because he's liar. This is what originally, of course his name is not the liar, but because he was a big liar, that's why he is known now in this name, by this name, Musaylama the liar. So he made up some of the sentences that he claimed revelation, also wahi, that comes to him. He said, look at what Musaylama says. He said, Ya ضفدع نقي ما تنقين, oh frog, ribbit how much you want to ribbit. أعلاك في الماء وأسفلك في الطين, your top is in water and your bottom is in mud. لا الشراب تمنعين, you don't prevent drinks. ولا الماء تكدرين, and neither will you make the water impure. I don't know this nonsense. He claimed to be revelation, wahi to him from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, compare this with this. Do you think this is revelation from Allah? This is nonsense. So he gathered Muslims around him and they stood firm on Islam, and they followed Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam after he passed away. The story of Tumama ends, but plenty of things we learn from this. Number one, do not follow hypes. Any news that comes to you, try to experience it, to investigate it firsthand. Do it by yourself. Don't take it from others. Especially now, the media, anyone can spread anything. So it is very important, especially when it comes to faith, to religion, to Islam, because that is related to dunya and to the akhirah, our life now and in the coming life. This is number one. Number two, Islam is the religion of forgiveness, the religion of love, not only the religion of justice. So this is the reality of Islam. Are we practicing this love in our life, or we practice hate and hatred? You find brothers and sisters are suing each other in courts. Blood brothers and sisters in Islam suing each other in court. How come this happened? This is not the teaching of Islam. This is not the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You see what Rasulullah dealt with the criminal, the one who killed among his companions. When he was captured, send him food from his home. Maybe Rasulullah, remained without food. And then at the third day, he just let him free. And those people of Mecca, they sent a letter to Rasulullah after all the difficulties that they did and the killings they did. Rasulullah simply sent a letter to Tumama, give them their wheat. This is the religion of Islam, the religion of love. Love others, not for selfish reasons, but for selfless reasons, for Allah. We love others because we want to guide them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From the darknesses to the light of Allah. From the way of shaitan to the way of Ar-Rahman subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is Islam. This is what all Islam about in brief. That's it. With that, we come to the end of the episode today. See you inshallah in the next episode. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: من دعا إلى هدى كان له من الأجر مثل أجور من تبعه لا ينقص ذلك من أجورهم شيئا. رواه Muslim. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, said, anyone who calls to guidance will have a reward equal to the reward of those who adhere to it, without their reward being diminished in any respect. Narrated by Muslim. If you think there is guidance in this video, share it and call others to it.